we got to talk about this. This is huge for so many reasons. Obviously, one of those reasons being that we were just talking about this the other day. We were playing Stardew. I think it was last week. We were playing Stardew, and I said, you know what, guys? Do you think there will ever be a 1.7 update? You think that's in the cards? We started speculating if it would happen. We just started playing Discounty. We played Discounty for the first time the other day and started theorizing what we would want to see. I think it was Image, actually, I think is the one who posted this in the Discord, this confirmation. Okay, I revealed this at the concert last night, and now the cat's out of the bag, so I will confirm for everyone. There will be a Stardew Valley 1.7 update. No release date, no estimate, but it's happening. That's huge. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Stardew Valley 1.7 wish list. Our moment to discuss as a community some of the biggest things that we would love to see in this new update. This is something I never did with 1.6 because I had just started playing, I think right after 1.6 started. So really for everything within that game, for me, was brand new. And so, you know, the green forest thing that happens in the summer, that was new for me, but apparently there's a lot of things that 1.6 added. And I always told myself, I said, you know, if they ever make a 1.7, I want to do a wish list. Chat, I would love to see more seasonal events. We saw this in the summer. You know, the summer has the green theme where you can get a ton of fiber. It rains green all day. It looks green. It's great. I think it's pretty cool. I would love to have a theme that impacts every aspect of the game. I would love a day maybe in the fall or the winter in which the mines experience a flurry of magic, and you go into the mines and it's all gold, or maybe there's a special floor that you can go to only on that specific day in which you get a ton of ore. It's just every rock is an ore, whether it's copper or iron or gold, and you just go absolutely crazy. And it only happens one day in the winter. And it would be a great way. It would be a great thing to look forward to in the winter, the same way we have something to look forward to in the summer. I would love to see something like that in the fall, maybe with fishing. Maybe every fish, maybe you pull out baskets of fish instead of just one. I think that would be really cool. But I would love to see more seasonal events. I think those are some of the coolest things in the game, and I think they add a lot. This would actually be fantastic. Now, I'm still learning about Ginger Island. So far, I feel like there's a number of secrets that I still have yet to uncover on this island, but it would be really cool to design Ginger Island the same way you design your regular farm. It would be cool to put up silos and have maybe special rarities of animals that you can only have on Ginger Island. Like, imagine if instead of birds or ducks, you could have those little magical parrots that you see flying around, and they drop magical eggs or something that have different effects or something like that. I don't know. I think that would be absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. New animals like the little turtles that you see at the beginning when you first get to Ginger Island. It would be cool to be able to buy those turtles. I think that would be great. Turtles, parrots, you know, things like that. Putting fish ponds on that little area of Ginger Island would be absolutely insane. Now, we've seen a few town gatherings, or at least I've seen a few. One of the most recent ones that I saw was the one with Leah, and she does her whole art show exhibit. I thought that was fantastic. A really, really beautiful event. I would love to see more just town gatherings like that. It would be cool if every week there was a town gathering, just a chance for everybody to congregate. I know you kind of have the saloon for that on like Friday nights or Saturday nights or something, but it would be cool to have just have, you know, a scheduled time every week that the town meets, and it would be a great chance for you to gift everybody things. So you don't have to hunt for people. You could just gift everybody things. And I think that would be good. You spoke of a mini mart. Ironically enough, during our time playing Discounty, this actually came up, and I said, we should be able to run a grocery store, or a convenience store. I mean, all the stuff that we get, right, from our farm, our produce, eggs, mayo, and stuff like that, it would be really cool to take over the spot that Joja Corp was in and be able to build up our own shop that we could now sell items at. We could come and work there. People could come and like buy things. We could set the prices. I know that sounds like a massive update change, but I think that would be so cool. Now, because right now we really just put it in a bin and we make money from it. But imagine if you could take those items that you're growing and then stock the shelves of an actual store. Now, I know this could create conflict because you're basically competing with Pierre. But let's be honest. Do any of you actually like Pierre? You know what I mean? Or a little food stand? Ooh, a food stand would be cool. What if we had a food truck? But I don't know what yet. It feels like a waste now. Ooh, spa upgrade. You know what would be great? Like a spa day, you know, spa days where, you know, the spa, if you go to the spa, maybe you get a buff, you know, maybe you get additional stamina or additional energy for that day. And it happens maybe randomly throughout the course of a season. One day it's a Tuesday, the next day it's a Sunday. But, you know, just like when the train arrives, I do feel like that whole space is heavily underutilized. So it would be really cool because after unlocking the spa, I've been maybe once. I think I've been maybe one time since then, and I have not visited it since because there really is just no purpose for it. But I love it, and it would be cool if more people used it. Like more of the townies were actually going to the spa. Maybe you got invited if you had a certain level of hearts with people. Maybe they would invite you and say, "Hey, on this day, we're going to the spa. You should join us." That triggers a adorable little cutscene. Maybe you get to bond with some of the characters. Maybe you do like a girls' day or something. You go to the spa. I would love that. That sounds amazing, you know? And then you get a buff for the rest of the week or the rest of the day. You know, just like they have this in some games. I think Tears of the Kingdom does this, or Breath of the Wild, where like you can sleep in a better bed, and that better bed gives you, it costs more, but it gives you more hearts. Like, imagine if there's like a spa day, and just like you get the notification when the train is coming into town, a notification pops up. It says that the spa is ripe and ready for rejuvenation or something like that. And if you go to the spa that day, you get like more stamina, maybe more health. Maybe the buff that you get is random. Different swimsuit options could be under that category. Ooh, that would be good. Different swimsuit options, more paths. Holy moly. I have been saying this since day one. I love the cobblestone paths. I love the stone steps, but man, I'm like, it would, you know how many, we have so many flooring options, and those are all great. We have so many wallpapers. I think those are great, but why do we only have five or six different pathing options? You know, I think that they're really, even if they were different colors, right? Like the stone steps are cool, but it would be really cool to have like red steps or blue steps or, you know, green steps, maybe stone steps that look like they have a little bit of moss on them. If you really want to go for that cozy cottage core vibe, it would be amazing to have like different kinds of each of those steps. Like even the steps that exist, just having different color options for the brick steps or, you know, cobblestone steps, I think would be fantastic. And honestly, just having more path options in general, I think would be a really, really good quality of life thing that I think the game needs for sure. Oh my gosh, that is so true. Sogno says quick stacking. Stacking definitely needs to be a thing. And I say this because, hey, there have been so many times where we go in and we have to buy 200 plus hay because, you know, we're running out or we've run out and our animals are unhappy with us, rightfully so. And we have to sit there for a number of seconds while, you know, up to like a minute while we just buy all this hay. And I know it's such a tiny thing, but being able to input an actual quantity is just such a, it feels like such a basic thing in so many games now. It's just such a you know, kind of a standard thing. You know, it would be amazing to have to be able to just input 200, pay and go. And that's just it's just such a time saver. You know, it would be really nice to have it to be able to quick stack and just buy, even just pulling things out of your inventory. If you need to pull specific amount. Even just being able to just do that, I think would be really cool. But if it was just limited to shops, and you know, you can only do it at shops, you know, definitely a step in the right direction for sure. When we go to the mines, I would love to see there actually be, similarly to how we have the weekly quests, I would love for there to be something at the Skull Caverns that we could pick up every Monday, or you know, whatever, the start of the week, and we could actually do a quest, whether it's to, you know, defeat so many mummies, or take on so many ghosts, or reach a certain level in the mines, and it would be a challenging quest, right? Maybe it takes you to a certain floor and you have to survive until a certain wave to complete the quest. But what you get from that, prismatic shards, baby, prismatic shards. There needs to be a way, and don't tell me if there is, because obviously I'm making this on the assumption that this doesn't exist. But there should be a way that you can get access to a prismatic shard every week, at least one. And to be honest with you, I feel like the weekly quest that we get now in the middle of town should give you access to a prismatic shard. 2,500 gold is great. 5,000 gold is great. But I do find the rewards on the weekly quest to be lacking a little bit. Now, obviously what you get from that is great. You really help out somebody, you boost your friendship with them. You know, sometimes they'll give you additional items, which is great. But I think that a prismatic shard should be an option. You know, it should be an option. Something like daily challenge, money, 10 coal. Like a daily challenge would be cool. Yeah, like little dailies that you could do. And I know you have, you know, the daily board that you can pick up, and that's great. The daily board you can pick up is great. But I just feel like there should be more things, like, oh, you do this quest and you get 25 iron shards, or you do this quest and you get, you know, other things. We talked about this too. Like, if they're not willing to give away prismatic shards, then there should be like a new currency, prismatic fragments. And this is something I've come to see from like games like Final Fantasy or Kingdom Hearts or something like that, where you get pieces of an item, and you know, maybe you get 4 prismatic fragments, and it gives you in it, you know, you can combine it in the forge or something, you know, to get a prismatic shard. I think that would be fantastic, because if they're not willing to give away prismatic shards, that's fine. But it would be cool when you're, you know, just how when you're in the mines and you're spending time in the mines and you find a diamond or something like that. It would be really cool to find really rare, like rainbow rocks, or that you can ore or mine out, and it gives you a prismatic fragment. Whether it's 4 prismatic fragments gives you a prismatic shard, or maybe it's even smaller. Maybe you need 100 prismatic fragments to get a prismatic shard. I mean, if it's 100 or something high like that, like it would have to be pretty frequent that you're getting those. But I think that would be a great quality of life thing, because after discovering the forge and the random rolls that you can get on certain things, you would think that you would want to be encouraged to, you know, play around with that. And when I got to the forge, chat, I only had like 3 prismatic shards. I think outside the one that you get when you get to the end, I only had about 3 of them. And I still to this day cannot believe I gave one to Gunther. I'd love to be able to fish up prismatic shards. I think more fishing rewards would be good as well. Like just different fishing rewards, even if they're odd ones, you know? I think that would be fantastic. I would love it if I don't know. And this is hard to say too, because I haven't gotten the mastery fishing upgrade that gives you access to, you know, rare golden chests. So I don't exactly know what comes in those, but I have fished up a prismatic shard once. I think once. Yeah. It was very rare. I think, yeah, it was one time I fished up a prismatic shard and a dinosaur egg. The luckiest I've ever gotten in that game, you know? But I like the fragments idea. I would love, like, I go to the mines and I pick up diamonds and I pick up jade and things like that. And I'm like, man, I would love to be picking up things that could be contributing to getting a prismatic shard. you know, but where it stands right now, as far as, at least as far as I've seen, you know, and I still feel like there's secrets left to be uncovered, you know, in my experience with the game. I would love to see more opportunities to get shards. I think that would be really great. Or let us combine other gems into prismatic shards. Yes. Combining gems. Like maybe you need 10 diamonds, you know? I don't know. Something. There's got to be something to where you can manually control getting a prismatic shard. I don't know. As someone that has played a lot of looter games and you know, and games where you really depend on RNG, while it does keep you playing the game, it can be a little discouraging sometimes when you're not getting the thing that you feel like you've put in hours and hours for. Like that can get a little frustrating. And so I always appreciate when games, even if the cost is high, I always appreciate when games give you a direct route to get the thing that you want. Even if it means you have to grind for it, right? You can still get it via luck and RNG, but it would be cool if there was a direct way in which you can control the outcome of your progression in the game, you know? And we've gotten lucky with our prismatic shards, you know, and the ones that we found, they have served us well. We got the best enhancement for the axe and the pickaxe, that being swift. But for the axe, that took 3 tries. There's technically a way to find prismatic shards if you go deep enough in a skull cavern. Still RNG though. Oh, see that? Yeah, we were talking about that too. I was curious if the deeper you go, how much your chance of getting a prismatic shard increases. I would assume if you were to go to like the hundreds, it's got to be pretty high, right? I mean, even though it's still RNG, it's definitely got to be higher than being on level 10. 1.7 villagers do quest for you too. Oh, yes. This is a small but huge change. More crops. I would love to see every season get a number of new crops that you can get. I think the more crops, the better. You know, I was losing my mind when I came across, you know, pineapples for the first time, and the idea that you could add that, I thought that was fantastic. And going into the second year and having Pierre even have one new option every season was great. I would love to get to a certain point where certain fruits and certain produce becomes available after a certain amount of years. So like after year 3 or year 4, maybe he sells ancient seeds. After year 5, he sells, you know, golden pumpkins that you can plant or something crazy. I don't know. I would love for there to be kind of prestige crops. Ooh, imagine you get to year 10, right? You get to year 10, chat, and now all of a sudden you're getting, you know, you're getting exotic fruits. Maybe you're getting durians. Maybe you're getting golden bananas, you know? Maybe you're getting, what's another exotic fruit? You know, maybe you're getting, you know, dragon fruit. Avocado trees. Yes. Okay. Now I know year 10 is a lot. That's a lot. But the point remains, prestige crops would be amazing. Maybe after year 4, you start to see prestige crops, and maybe it's random. Maybe, you know, you don't know what crop you're going to get at which year, but maybe after year 4, every year, Pierre starts to invest in prestige crops, and they're crazy expensive. Maybe they're 50,000, 100,000, something ridiculous like that. But at that point in the game, you probably are swimming in money. But it would be really cool to invest in some rare exotic trees and fruits, dragon fruit, avocado trees, durians, things like that. That would be fantastic. Chat, can you get divorced in Stardew? Like let's say you move in with Haley, you know, you move in with Haley. She rejected you a couple times at the dance, but she finally gave in, you know, she finally gave in, and she said, you know what? Fine, we'll get married. But then things don't necessarily start working out, and you've got a decision to make. And for 5 million gold, you could hire a lawyer, and you can go through the divorce part. That might hit a little too close to home. This is supposed to be a cozy game, so I don't know if they would actually do that. But you can get divorced. That feels a little too personal. You know, I don't know if you know, I don't know if I could go through that, you know, premium products from the stores, premium crops. That's good stuff. That is good stuff. Now, I saw a great option here. Horse storage. That would be huge. A saddlebag would be insane. Maybe you have different sizes, right? That you can do. You can upgrade it too. You know, more customization for your horse. I think a customizable saddlebag, similarly to how we have chest, this would be a bag that you can put on your horse so that you can ensure that you can bring things back. You know, your horse is your trusty steed, and I feel like I feel like your horse should be treated as such. Leah could be your first wife. That's crazy. Imagine walking around town and now it's like toxic, you know, because now you're walking around town, you bump into Leah at the local saloon, right? Fresh off the divorce. And now she shows up and she does not want to talk to you. It's like things are hostile. It's not a good vibe. Imagine you start dating someone else in the village. Like this is starting to get I divorced Sam and he won't so much as look at me. More dating options. I would love to see more dating options. There are villagers in this game that I cannot date, and it hurts me greatly. It hurts me greatly, chat. You know, it hurts me greatly that there are some people that I can't talk to, that I can't build a relationship with, you know? And I'm not trying to say that I want to be a homewrecker, or I'm trying to ruin any sort of happy homes in Stardew, but I'm just saying that there are people that in this village that I feel like we've established great chemistry with. And I feel like we deserve the opportunity to find love. Maybe there's a better connection there. And listen, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, I just think that, you know, listen, maybe you're someone that's into the library kind of vibe. You love the books, you're into the lore, you know, and you come to find out that the person working behind the desk is actually fantastic. Great company, amazing to talk to. Maybe you're somebody on the other end that likes things a little weird. Listen, there's no judgment here. There's no judgment here. Live your life. Live your life. Maybe you want to have someone cast a spell on you. That's totally fine. Listen, I love Harry Potter. I do. I love it. You know, I love it. And there was a time where all I wanted was someone that loved Harry Potter as much as I did, you know? And that might be you. That might be you. You know, who's the lady that stops by every Friday and she brings the stuff? The merchant lady. Does she have a name? We're just gonna call her Merchant Lady for now. Merchant Lady. Fantastic. 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 Maybe you're somebody that likes the strong silent type. You know what I mean? Again, I'm not saying that you should be trying to ruin any of these relationships in the world of Stardew. I'm just saying that should be an option. That should be an option. And then it's a roll of the dice whether that character that you're trying to court, maybe they realize that there's just something special here. Maybe you're somebody that likes the heat, you like the desert, and you consider this character to look very similar to Hayley Williams. You know, I love Paramore, and so should I get the opportunity to see that through? Absolutely. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. More dating options would be fantastic. Why are we adding Lewis to our dating list? The question is, why are we adding Lewis to our dating list? Swimming would be good. Yeah, I would love that. I don't think it would be anything necessarily game changing, but it would be cool to be able to take a swim in the nearby lake or river. Yeah, why not? Why not? Now, a lot of people are saying Zuzu City. Now, don't tell me anything crazy. I don't know what this is. You all have mentioned it a few times. I think it would 1.7. It would be really cool to have a new location to visit. I think that would be fantastic. Absolutely. New location. Ooh, adoption. Ooh. Adoption. Yes. Because listen, in what reality? I mean, I find it to be very interesting that you can adopt a pet, right? You can get a new pet on your farm for 40, I think it's like 40,000 gold. But it would be really cool if you could go the alternate route and adopt a child. You don't have to get married. You just, you know, that would be fantastic. Yes, absolutely. Azusa City comes up in dialogue with certain characters. Oh, okay. Yeah, that would be great. A new location, adoption, swimming. I would love it. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. If you could get helpers. Yes. The kids, the wife or husband. Yeah. Maybe even the pets. Now listen, I don't expect the cats to do a whole lot. You know, I love cats, but you know, sometimes I feel like they're just there for the aesthetic. You know, I love my cats though. Don't get me wrong. However, it would be cool if like there are special things, like for instance, right? For instance, it would be cool if you got a cat. Let's say you bought a cat. You got, you know, you wouldn't need cats equal no scarecrows, right? Because the cats, if you buy a cat, you know, or you adopt a cat, you don't need scarecrows anymore because the cats will be roaming the grounds. They'll be roaming the farm throughout the day, right? And they would keep the crows at bay, right? But if you buy a dog, if you adopt a dog, then you get, I don't know what you would get. No need to dig up treasure spots. Yes, the dog will dig up the treasure spots. I also see a beautiful suggestion here where you get if you adopt a cat, you get a fishing buff. That would be fantastic. If you have a dog, then dogs attack mobs if you're on the mob farm. So the pets, and maybe the scarecrow one, maybe that isn't exclusive to cats. Maybe both pets, because I could see dogs scaring away crows as well. I mean, you know, but maybe each pet gives you that buff. But they also get their own special things, right? Like maybe you get a mining buff, you know, when you have a dog. Maybe the dog could follow you into the mines and help you. Maybe it increases your speed. So whenever you have the dog, you're in the mines, you automatically get a +1 speed mining buff, which will be insane. Maybe the dog actually could help you, you know, find certain rare gems that you wouldn't be able to find normally. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, this is another great idea. Clothing buffs. Because really the only buff we get from clothes is what? From our shoes, right? Our boots. But it would be really cool if we got clothing buffs, you know, for instance, our hat. You could find hats with, you know, maybe, I don't know. Maybe you could find hats with +2 luck, right? Maybe you could find pants with, you know, I don't know, -4 fishing, you know, -4 fishing, and we call them maybe we call them Lewis's pants, something like that, something wild, you know, like that. I think that would be fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Would I wear Lewis's shorts? Absolutely not, but I would love the option to do that. Another thing that we just saw, multiple trinkets. Yes, because imagine in a world, chat, where you get the frog plus the fairy. Come on now. That would be insane. We would have a whole posse. Imagine you could have the fairy plus the frog plus your dog could come with you. That would be insane. Yeah. That is a great suggestion, Virgo. We've seen some really great ones. That is another great one. Multiple trinkets would be fantastic. Yeah, I don't know how they would do that, how we would get that option. Maybe they could increase the because right now you could only get to what, mastery 5. Maybe you could get to maybe you could get more mastery ranks. So maybe you could get more mastery ranks. Maybe with 1.7 you get mastery up to mastery rank 10, and so you could get combat 2 mastery, and that would give you a certain buff or 2 buffs or whatever. you know, maybe you could get that. Yeah. And that would give you second trinket. But maybe it requires a ridiculous amount of XP. You know, maybe it's like 100,000 or something. So I mean, you'd have to work at it, and it would make the decision of what you choose very important, because, you know, 100,000 would be insane. A mastery level that would allow you to remain awake and not pass out. See, imagine if that was the farming mastery, right? That would be insane. Farming mastery 2. No more sleep. You no longer have to sleep. There's no longer a penalty for staying up late. You're good. I mean, because listen, at that point, you're getting farming mastery 2. You're probably so far into the game that why would there even be a penalty? I think that would be fantastic if you didn't get punished for sleeping. You could work all day, you could work all night. You don't have to go home and go to sleep or whatever. That would be great. But I don't know if that's like a technical issue, if that's the reason why that exists, the whole go to sleep thing, because you need there to be a reset or restart for the day. Maybe that's why. And if that wasn't a thing, that would be really cool. That would be really cool. So we got adoption, we've got Zuzu City, a new location, we've got helpers, where if you have kids, you get married, then they actually help around the farm. So, you know, maybe the wife or the husband helps, like, if you get a wife or a husband in the game, maybe it's specific to what their trade is, right? Like maybe if you have, maybe if you marry Harvey, right? Because Harvey's the doctor, you no longer get penalized for dying in the mines, which happens to us quite a lot. Maybe if you marry Marnie or something like that, you now get to plant crops on her farm too. You know, kids become teens. You want kids to become teens and rebel against you on the farm? They didn't do their chores, so now you have to do them? Oh no, absolutely not. That's too close to home. That's too close to home. I was a teenager once. No, absolutely not. But that would be funny. That would be funny. Harvey's actually a decent guy when you remember he exists. I actually never see Harvey. I never see him. I'd love to be able to have access to every vendor register at all times. Let us sell to Pierre after hours, etc. That's true too. You know how they have, because they have, like, Marnie has the book, right? Where if she's not in town or if she's away, maybe she's doing Tuesday yoga, you could still access her thing. And I think that every shop should have that. I should be able to access Clint's Forge. That would be fantastic. The ability to pause while decorating. This might be one of the biggest ones. Chat. Like, I would love to see them implement a top-down view of your farm when you're crafting, that does, and when you're building and when you're decorating and things, that does not take up time. That is something that should be in the game. 100%. Because there are times when we are decorating and doing the whole thing, and time is just speeding by. And I always think to myself, man, it would be so nice if this wasn't a thing. If I could just decorate freely, not worry about being confined to the laws of time. That would be great. I would love that. Another idea, if you marry Maru or Sebastian, you get discounts at Robin's shop. Yeah, that's huge. I think overall, in general, chat, I think that marrying certain people should come with a specific buff. Because as far as I know, now I haven't married anyone in the game, but as far as what you all have told me, they're really, like, it's really just picking a person based on whatever, right? But I think even, when you get married and things like that, right? You don't just pick it based on the fact that you like them, right? Your values have to align. You have to have, certain critical things in common, like whether or not you want children or something. I would love for there to be an option where, like, maybe you love Leah and you want to marry Leah, but Leah doesn't want kids, and that's totally fine. And you'd have to, like, there would be a pro and a con to that. So, like, maybe you're interested in this person. It pulls up a sheet in game that shows you the pros and cons, the things that they like. Because right now we can see the things that they like. We can see the things that they dislike in terms of their gifts and things. But it would be really cool to have like a bio about the character. Leah is an artist. She loves painting. She loves sculptures, but she's very messy. So if she moves into your house, you will constantly be tripping over Legos and sculptures and paints and all these things. That would be insane, right? Haley is, you know, Haley loves tanning. She loves going out. She loves shopping. But on the con side, she's kind of high maintenance a little bit. And so because of that, if you were to marry Haley, you lose 10,000 gold every day. Okay, every week. Every week. You lose 10,000 gold every week. Because Haley loves to shop. And that's just the pros and cons of getting married. And I just think that there should be more pros and cons to, you know, however, as a result, when you hit the mines, you will find a lot more diamonds to compensate for the increased cost, you know? But I think that would be fantastic. You know, maybe if you were to marry Marnie, you know, Marnie loves her animals, right? She loves her animals. She loves, you know, cheese and things like that. So you marry Marnie, all the cheese that your animals produce will always be iridium level. However, on the con side, they'll constantly destroy things on your farm, just randomly. You'll never have a complete path ever again, because the animals will always destroy things. That fence that you love, that you put up, that you spent hardwood on, gone, just randomly. Your animals will randomly disappear and you have to go find them and corral them back, you know? Marry Marnie, she keeps the silos filled for free. Oh, that would be huge. But Lewis doesn't always pick up your... Can you imagine? Sometimes you sell things. Sometimes you would sell things in the bin to Pierre, and then you would go to the end of the day relog or the recap, and you would see 0, 0, 0, 0. And it would just say Pierre forgot to pick up the order. Holy moly. But so you'd have to wait the next day. The next day would actually, you know, so maybe that would be the downside. You marry Marnie, you never have to worry about silos again. But on the flip side, all of the things that you sell take an extra day to process. There has to be consequences. Okay. You can't just take Lewis's love interest and expect that things are going to be sweet. There's no way. And that kind of realism, chat, that kind of realism would keep me locked into this game for a long time. And it's not to say that I like to stir the pot, but when you send me a discreet email asking for truffle oil, I'm sorry, I'm going to ruin your life. If Lewis keeps picking his job over Marnie, it's not her fault for moving on. Very true. Very true. I want to see these kind of real world consequences happening within the game. That's what I would love to see. I would love to see that. Okay. So looking over our list again, this is what we got in the Stardew Valley 1.7 wish list. We got seasonal events, more seasonal events. I want every season to have a seasonal event. We've got build farm buildings on Ginger Island. Silos, anyone? Absolutely. We also talked about exotic animals. I want to be able to buy parrots. I want to be able to buy turtles. I want to be able to buy maybe otters or dolphins or something. That would be fantastic. You know, I would love to see on Ginger Island as well. I would love if you could make an aquarium. There's an aquarium in Animal Crossing, and it was my favorite thing in the game. I loved adding to the aquarium, and Ginger Island very much feels like a place in which you could have an aquarium, and you could take all the fish that you've amassed, all the fish that you've attained, and you could put them in the aquarium and build a full collection and a full catalog of animals. I would love to see I would also love to see more exotic fish exclusive to Ginger Island, because we got one, there's one legendary fish in every season, but I would love to see a few more added to Ginger Island that are super rare, scattered around, and maybe there's one per season, but it's on Ginger Island. I would love to see that. More legendary fish exclusive to this area. We got town gatherings. Yes, I would love to see more town gatherings. I would love to see the town square utilized more. I want to see more decorations too. I want to see more decorations. I want to see more just festivities, especially in the fall, especially in the winter. I just want to see more. I want the town square to feel like the place that you go when you want to feel like you're in it. You're in the environment, you're in the world. I think that would be great. Run a convenience store. This is a bit of a stretch, and maybe this is the discounty fan in me, but I would love to see us be able to run our own convenience store, or maybe take a tiny bookshop approach and have a little traveling cart that we can like pull up, same way that the merchant does. We could pull up, we buy a time slot, maybe it's every Friday or whatever, and people in the town can come and buy our products. That would be amazing. I'd like different style options for farm buildings. That would be great too. Different, like I would love to see different looks for the silo. I would love to see different looks for the mill. I would also just love to see different things that we could buy. I want to see different things that we could build that don't really have a purpose, right? If I want to buy a cell phone tower, even though I don't have a cell phone in that game, I should be able to do that. You know, I should be able to do that, because I go to Robin sometimes and I'm like, I don't really have anything I want to buy. You know, I don't really have anything I want to buy or have her build, but I would love if Robin had more options for things to build, even if they don't really serve a purpose. Like the mill, it serves a purpose. Let's be honest. It just looks good. And so that's why I bought a couple, you know, that's it, you know. More paths, more pathing options would be fantastic. I feel like I've been saying this since I started this game. I was like, man, I love this game and I love the paths, but there definitely should be more paths, more pathing options for sure. Quick stacking. I should be able to buy 200 hay off the jump, no problem. Challenge quest, really with the whole purpose of prismatic shards. Prismatic fragments would be good. We're spending a lot of time in the mines. It would be great if occasionally a prismatic fragment drops. We need 4 of them, 10, 100, whatever, and you take it to the forge, the Dwarvish forge, and you can make a prismatic shard. That would be great. Also combining gems, 10 diamonds equals 1 prismatic shard, something like that, you know? An actual game tractor would be fun. Even if it just sits there, having an actual tractor would be insane. More fishing rewards. I just want to fish more. More crops. This was a great idea. We talked about prestige crops, having specific crops that drop every so often, right? You know, year 4, you know, 5, etc. Right? Every year after a certain year, maybe after year 4, you get durians, golden bananas, dragon fruits, avocado trees, stuff like that. Where you could take those avocados into your kitchen and you could make guacamole. And it's a loved gift for everyone, because let's be honest, who doesn't love guacamole? More dialogue options would be great. Horse storage, a saddlebag, a customizable saddlebag. Now you could decorate, you could buy different saddlebags from Marnie. I think Marnie should sell them, but there's different designs, different styles, different sizes. So you have to buy the small one, but you can upgrade that to the medium, can upgrade that to the large. I mean, your horse feels like such a big part of the game, yet really doesn't really serve any purpose other than transporting you from one spot to another. You know, animals can get sick and need a vet. Oh, could be Marnie or a new character. Yes, I mean, it would be cool to have an animal vet. I guess that's just called a vet. But like, you know how you have you know, Harvey's the doctor, right? It would be cool to have a vet that you can go to you know, randomly throughout, maybe if it's just, even if it's just once a year, your animal can get sick, or even the animals that you buy, the pigs, the horses, the pigs and the cows and things, they could get sick, and you could see them have like a little purple cloud above them or whatever. And when they get sick, you have to call the vet in, and the vet will come and take care and like treat your animals. And it costs money, but that's the price you pay for having animals. You know, you have to take care of them. Same way you take care of your crops. If you don't water your crops, then they die, you know? And imagine if you don't take care of if you don't treat your cows because you were out there having the time of your life on Ginger Island. Now you come back to your farm and they say, oh, little Moody or little Mufasa has passed away. And now you have to, oh, a shovel would be a cool tool as well. Now you have to hoe out a grave that you now have to bury your cow in, Mufasa or Moody, or, you know, something like that. Or else, if you don't, that cow that's dead will now infect your other animals. And now your other animals could die. You take too long, and now your entire livestock has died out, and you have to buy new ones. That would be insane. It's almost too realistic, but almost too realistic. Anyway, more dating options. Listen, if I want to date Evelyn, I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to hear any judgment, chat. I don't want to hear any judgment. I don't want to hear any side eyes. Oh, she's married to George. Listen, George is not going to live forever. Okay. This is just realistic. This is just the reality of things. Okay. Evelyn and I have always had a special connection ever since she brought me that potted plant back in year 1, ever since she delivered freshly baked cookies. Okay. We've always had a special connection, and I stand on that. Okay. I'm not saying I'm waiting for the inevitable, but I'm saying I would love the chance to try. You know, you just want cookies. Listen, we all want something. Okay. We all want something, you know, that's all I'm saying. I do love cookies though. I really do. I really do. She had me at chocolate chip, you know? But if you want to date Robin, Willie, Gunther, the wizard, merchant lady, that'd be cool. That would be cool. Swimming. We talked about swimming. Swimming would be fantastic. Not really game changing in any way, but it would be a fun thing to do. You know, it'd be cool if there was like a community pool or something. I mean, we can go in the sauna, but I mean, it would be nice if we could actually like swim, you know? I think that would be fun. I loved when they added that to Animal Crossing and we could swim and we could actually dive and collect random things. It would be cool to do that in this game as well. A new location. I feel like in 1.7, this has to be a thing, right? What if I'm hungry? No cookie. Listen, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. But a new location would be fantastic. I think in 1.7, there has to be a new location. You know, there has to be, right? I just feel like that's like a grand slam. So hopefully this Zuzu City that you all have mentioned does become a thing. Because we've been on the farm, right? We've been to an island. We should go to a city. That would be really cool. It would be really cool. Adoption. Adoption would be great. I think adoption should be an option in the game. You should be able to just adopt a kid the same way you can adopt like animals from Marnie. You should, and if they want to take it a step further, you could go through an adoption process and actually like name your kid and like what you would want their name to be and all this kind of thing. But I think that'd be a really just fun addition, and it would just create more variety. Helpers. When you have kids, you get married, you have a wife or a husband, they should provide buffs to your farm. You know, the wife or the husband, the kids like tend to the crops. So now you don't have to pick the crops. When you have kids, they'll go out and pick the crops for you and put them in a bin or something. I think that would be great. And the same goes for pets. I think that having a cat and a dog should prevent you from having to have scarecrows anymore. You know, you no longer need scarecrows because the cat and the dog will do that for you. But if you have a cat, you get a fishing buff. Maybe you get a daily fish from your cat. And if you have a dog, you get a mining buff. Dogs attack mobs if you're on the mob farm or something of that sort. Maybe dogs randomly dig up items that you get every day from your dog. I think that that would be fantastic. That would be really cool. Overall clothing buffs, I think would be really good too. I think this was a fantastic idea. I think clothing buffs clothing should have buffs, you know, whether it's minus, maybe if it's like Lewis or something, you know, you get maybe, you know, minus 100, you know, maybe minus 100 aura, or, you know, you get minus 50 luck or something like that. You know, these are obviously the most unluckiest pants you could wear, but wouldn't that be funny? That would be funny to be able to wear them. You know, I would love that. I would love that. Truly. But overall clothing buffs would be great. And I think one of the best ideas we saw was multiple trinkets, because I got the frog, I got the fairy, and I hate that I can't have both of them. There's another one that I really liked. I like the fairy overall, but then I also like the arrows, the little magic arrows that you can get. Imagine if you could have, you know, because then you could really start to play around with different things. Imagine if you could have the arrows plus the arrows, you know. I mean, I think that that would be cool too. Just having, now you're just shooting off arrows at all these enemies constantly. I think that that would be a really fun thing. But I think just even having one more trinket slot would allow you to really mix and match and make content, like make content a lot more varied and fun. Imagine if you could have 2 fairies and you're basically constantly healing all the time. I think that that'd be really cool. Last second addition to the list, the ability to deconstruct an item back to its original materials. Ooh. Maybe a new buildable item, a deconstructor. I think that would be fantastic. So instead of like throwing an item away, you could deconstruct it into its material parts. That would be sick. That would be sick. We also talked about mastery ranks. I would love if there were 5 more mastery ranks. So now you could reach mastery farming mastery 2. You could reach mining mastery 2, fishing mastery 2, you know? And then with each one, you get maybe one more buff, and it's like a big buff. So like for farming, you no longer need sleep. For combat, you would get +1 trinket. For fishing, you would get something else. I think that that would be really cool. And then we talked about time pausing. It would be really cool to be able to pause time while you're decorating. I think that that would be insane. Because right now when you're decorating, it really just, you know, there really is just, it's such a bummer because you're constantly worried about the time. And it would be cool at the end of the day, you could actually just go through your farm, pause time, even if it's like a 2 million gold item, like the clock, right? Like a 2 million gold item or something that you can buy that actually will pause the time for you so that you can do things on your farm. You don't have to worry about time spending anymore. I think that will be amazing. And then of course the new item. So this is like 20 plus new things that we would hope to see when it comes to Stardew Valley 1.7. And while there still isn't like an actual, you know, release date for this, I think that any combination of these additions would be absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I think if Concerned Ape does any combination of these, I think that that would be really good. For me personally, if you had to ask me which one I wanted to see, I would love to see prestige crops. I would love to see really exotic fruits and things that would give you a reason to go back. Even if it's just like a letter that you find, you know, in the library or something that shows you what you get at year 2, year 3, year 4, right? Imagine if you're like, man, year 7, you get dragon fruit. I want to get to year 7. Year 9, you get an avocado tree. You know, I think that that would be, you know, maybe you could make passion fruit or something like that. That would be fantastic. But I would say the most important thing, I would love to get prismatic shards. I would love more direct ways to get prismatic shards, either through weekly quests or something like that. I think the weekly quests just need to offer you more than just gold, you know, especially the one like 1,000 gold for Robin, it's 1,000 wood for Robin's quest. And that gave us like 2,000 gold, 2,500 or something like that. And to me, that just wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. I think that there should be like for weekly quests, I think you should get, you know, at least, you know, prismatic fragments would be a really cool thing. Prismatic shards, something like that. And then I think more spouse options, more dating options, I think would be, those are like the biggest things I would love to see. But any of these other things I think would be really cool. More stuff on Ginger Island, more building things, stuff like that. But this is fun. This is fun. I think that the 1.7, I'm so excited for it. I hope that we get it at least next year. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows how long it'll take though? As long as it's good, you know, as long as it's good, I think it will be well worth the wait.